So I've talked about this before, but I definitely appreciate this series because they've managed to make the first 4 episodes incredibly different from each other. Now, I very much disliked last week's episode, and I did enjoy this week's episode, but of course, the very first episode was by far my favorite so far in this series. So I really appreciated the tone of this episode, dealing with a guy who had been harboring the guilt of his best friend's death for, I guess, more than 20 years. And I enjoyed the fact that it wasn't a horror, it wasn't like a psychological thriller. It definitely wasn't like odd or creepy. I guess you could kind of call it creepy, but we were left with the question, which I feel like we're kind of left with a solve this yourself, draw your own conclusion at every single episode. Was he actually seeing his dead friend, or was this all in his mind? Now, I tend to believe that it was all in his mind, but I do want to point out that it seems like the bathroom of room 104 has a lot of significance in every single episode. Again, in this episode, the bathroom was where the best friend was coming back to life in the sense of this story, and it seems like a lot of the major action or supernatural things are happening in that bathroom. So I'm wondering if you are also thinking there was some sort of significance with the bathroom itself. But I'm also curious to see if you think the best friend was really there or if it was just in the guy's imagination. I thought the ending was great. He was able to finally move on in his life. The death of his friend had caused, probably the loss of his marriage, and it just kind of destroyed his life, and he was living out of a hotel room. But I think he's going to be able to move on after the conclusion of this episode, because he finally has that closure that he needed, and his best friend, as an older person, told him that if he had tried to jump in and save him from drowning, he would have died as well. So all of these years he felt that he didn't do enough, and I think that was him talking to himself when the best friend came back as a young person saying, why didn't you try? Why didn't you jump in? You could have jumped in, you could have saved me. Because you saw the more the aged best friend, the older person, the wiser person saying, look, if you had tried to jump back in, you would have died. Now, we could also look at it from the standpoint that when he saw his friend as an older guy, an elderly man, not really elderly, but older guy, that was actually happening in the realm of the show, and that the times he saw his friend as the 21-year-old was in his mind, because the only person who really made sense in this story was the older guy who said, like, if you had jumped back in, you would have died. And the younger version of the best friend had kept saying, kind of blaming his friend again, which I think the main guy in this story was just blaming himself this whole time, also through the best friend. So I want to know what you thought about this episode. Again, I enjoyed it. I liked the message. I liked the resolution. Nothing has been better to me than episode 1, but we are only 4 episodes in, and I also enjoy the fact that you decide what you think happened in each episode. I don't think they need to tell us every single time. And yes, of course, in the second episode, we kind of figured out what happened, but again, so many people have commented on my videos alone with their version of what was going on. So I don't think there's any clear-cut answer to any of these episodes, and I do think that theme will continue through the rest of the season, so I'm cool with that. I think that is cool. I don't think we always need to know everything, especially since these episodes are just one-time things with a cast at one time. We don't see it again. If it was like a series that was connected, I would be really mad if they never explained anything, but that's not how this goes. So if you didn't know, I'm covering the entire first season of Room 104, and I will do extra seasons that come along if it does get renewed. So if you enjoy this show, please subscribe to my channel. I will have a new video about this show every single week, and thumbs up this video if you enjoyed this video. Be sure to check my schedule. I'm having a lot of new shows coming up that are returning, like How to Get Away with Murder, This Is Us, American Horror Story. I feel like there's more stuff that I can't think of right now. So I also just started covering The Sinner, which is Jessica Biel's show on USA. So if you like any of those shows, you might like my channel. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you're having a great start to your week, and I'll see you soon. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Kelly TV. I would love for you to subscribe and be a part of the Kelly TV family. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter so you can keep up with all I'm doing.